Okay, in this video I'm going to install Predbat into my new Home Assistant setup. I've already installed GiveTCP as in the previous video, and that's up and running. So, to install Predbat, first I'm going to pull up the Predbat documentation on GitHub. Hopefully it will come up quite easily. And if I go through to the documentation area, you'll find the installation summary with the steps to perform, and then you'll find the installation details here. It's got some information about how to use some other inverters as well, Solcast, for example, and actually we're just adding so far. There's going to be a documentation update for that shortly. So there's a few different ways to install, as mentioned on the summary. I'm going to use the AppDaemon and Predbat combined install, which is the easiest one. So Predbat actually runs in AppDaemon, but what I've done is I've packaged a version of AppDaemon and Predbat together, so it just installs nice and quickly and easily for the user. So in order to do that, there's a separate repository for AppDaemon and Predbat. So if I open that repository here, you can see this is the one that you actually have to add as a new add-on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go settings, add-ons, add-on store, repositories, and I'm going to add this add-on to my system. And all being well, it'll pop up there. Then just need to give it a few seconds for it to actually refresh it, and then hit the refresh button, and hopefully it will show up here. And you can see that's AppDaemon with Predbat. It's got the two logos together. So I'm going to install that now. I'll just give it a few seconds to download and install. Okay, so now what you actually have to do is hit the start button for it to actually download the latest version. So just to show in this configurations, you shouldn't have to change anything, but it's actually showing what version of Predbat it's going to download and which config file to start with. So that's pre-configured for you. It doesn't matter if it's an old version, you can update it later. So when you hit the start button, this will actually cause it to build and download. There you go, so it's downloaded versions from GitHub. If that fails, you're obviously going to have a problem. You have to redo it again. And so now this is actually going to be up and running, but it will have an error because I haven't edited the configuration yet. So remember from the settings, from the add-ons, the file editor here, remember that it needs to have enforce spacebar turned off, and that is because when I go to file editor, I'm going to have to go back and go into add-ons config, and I'll find AppDaemon Predbat here, and then I find my AppDaemon YAML, that's pre-configured for me. I find the Predbat log. This is the file that you'll now need if you want to raise any tickets or look at what's actually going on. What you'll find is it's going to have an error in here initially, and the reason is you have a template configuration. So you actually need to configure it the first time. So if you load up the apps.yaml inside the apps directory, this template by default is for GiveTCP. What you can do is if I go to the actual Predbat repository itself, so I need to actually go back to that. So if I go to GitHub, it's actually for historical reasons, the repository is called batpred. Anyway, ignore that, and you go into templates, you'll find there's some actual templates for other inverters. So there's a SoFar, a Solar Edge, and a Solace template. So if I wanted Solace, you would want to go and copy this one. But as I'm using Give Energy, the default one is actually correct for me. So what I need to do is I need to delete this template line. It shows it's actually being configured, and I need to go and set anything needs to change. If you've only got a single inverter, all of this will just work out of the box. so you don't really need to change it. One thing to notice here, this REST interface where it says Home Assistant.local, that should work if that's what your machine's called, but if it's called something different, you need to change that. And in my case, I'm going to change it to my IP address because this machine don't change the port number, because the port number is different for REST and for other things. I've only got a single inverter, so I only need one. All of these are just going to work based on the template. My inverter limit is 3.6 kilowatts. I don't have any export limitations. My inverter actually, kind of when you turn off discharge, it leaks at about 200 watts. So I'm going to turn that on. Some of them don't. My reserve max, it will actually go up to 100. Some inverters will error out if you try and set the reserve to 100, which is why that's defaulting to 98. I've got a battery power charge curve, so this really shows that it slows down charging when I get towards 100%. And this is kind of like, so between say 98 and 100%, I'm only charging at quarter rate. So this was calibrated for this particular inverter. You can change it for yours. The PV forecast today, that should line up with Solcast. I haven't installed Solcast yet, so this isn't going to quite work yet. That'll be the next thing that we'll need to add in. I've got one car, charging energy. This can pick up from Zappy or Wallbox by default, but you can change it to your own sensor. I've not installed that, so that's not going to work at the moment. So I shall set cars to 0. So I don't have any cars set up, but if you set yours, then it can work. This car charging now you can use to, if your car doesn't, you can't plan it through Predbat, just to say it is charging, and then it'll take care of the battery for you. You can also set your car battery size, the charge limit on the sensor, the car's SOC on a sensor, or you can pick it up from Intelligent Octopus. Here we're going to use the Octopus Energy add-in to pick up our energy rates. If you didn't have Octopus Energy, you want to comment these ones out and then use the manual rates here. So rates import and export, and you can set the times and the different rates. You can also override rates on individual days for saving sessions and such like. I'm going to use data from 7 days ago in my history, is the default. As mine's a new system, I might say use 1, 2 and 3 days ago. If I could keep more data, I could maybe use 7 and 14 days, for example. Then I think that's okay to default by default, so I'm going to save that file, and now in theory it will actually restart itself. So if I go back to the file editor, and I can actually have a look at the Predbat log as well. So let's go back into here, have a look at the log, and we can see something's running here. You might have to refresh the log file in a second, because this kind of will update every so often. So let's just try and refresh the log again, and we can see it's now starting to run. This entity's been created. There's no PV data because I don't have Solcast in. This is it creating all the new entities in Home Assistant. And we get to the end and notice it is created Predbat dashboard.yaml. So what I can do now is, in my file editor, if I go into the Home Assistant directory, I can find my Predbat dashboard.yaml, and this YAML file here, if I just select it all, copy, now I'm going to go to here, and I'm going to go edit dashboard, and I can add a card, I can do an entities card, I can show code editor, and I paste that directly into here and save, and that will give me all the Predbat entities that I've got currently. They're not in a great order, and you may want to change it around, etc. For your own liking, but at least they're there. I can see expert mode is turned off. this tells me what version I've got. I've installed 35, there is a 36 available, so I can update at some point. I'm in monitor mode, which means it won't make any changes to my inverter, it will just predict what's going to happen without any changes. If I want to update to version 36, I can just select version 36 here, and if I wait a few, it will just update for me, and so that should happen. So when this sensor ticks over, we'll see that the update's happened. So all these sensors are up and running, and that's great. The other thing I can do is add some new charts in. So to get the charts, I look at the example chart, and I can see there's multiple charts in here. So you want to copy one at a time. So let's copy the battery prediction chart. So let's just highlight all the way down to the end of that. Copy, go to here, do dashboard, add the Apex chart, and I'm going to take the template for the battery chart from here, copy it, and I'm going to paste it into the Apex chart here, and I'm going to save it. And I can do the same for the other charts as well. My chart looks very flat because I'm in monitor mode and because I don't have any solar prediction, I don't have any load prediction, so everything's flat. I'm going to have to wait about 24 hours, and I'm going to have to install also my solar prediction Solcast, which I'm going to do that now actually. So I just searched up the Solcast add-in for Home Assistant, and then I'm going to have to do add I'm going to have to add that here. So the information says I'm going to do that in hacks. So I'm going to go into hacks, sorry, and I'm going to go repositories. And I'm going to go repository Solcast, and that is the integration, and I'm going to add it. Custom repository. Oh, so it's saying it already is in hacks. So if I search for Solcast, there we go, I didn't need to add it. And I'm going to download it. And then this is going to require us restart afterwards, as most of the hacks downloads do. So I'm going to restart the system now. Let's do a quick restart Home Assistant. Okay, restarted. So now I should be able to find Solcast. Let me see if I can add it. Solcast, there we go. So I'm going to paste my API key into here and hit submit, and then that will configure up my Solcast. So just a reminder, you get the Solcast API key from the Solcast login and click on API. So now Solcast is up and running, and we've got my forecast coming up. The other thing you need to do is add an automation to update Solcast on a regular basis. So what you need to do now is go on to the automations section of Home Assistant, sorry, which is settings, automations, and you need to create an automation, create a new one, and then you're going to use some sort of time pattern that we need to use as a trigger. So I looked at time and location, time pattern, and we're going to run it, say, every 8 hours, for example. You only get 10 API calls a day, so you don't want to do it too often. And then the action is going to do something on a service, essentially. This is all changed around on the latest one, but you know, Solcast API update. And so this is going to happen, and this is going to be called Solcast update. It's going to happen every 8 hours, and then let's run it now so that we get some up-to-date data. And so that should be Solcast up and running. So this data will hopefully come through into to Predbat soon. Let's go and have a look at the log file and see what it's doing. Let's go to the file editor and go back to our add-on configs, and let's have a look at the log, and we'll see what's happening here. So we should, this last ran a couple of minutes ago. That was after the last reboot, so we're going to need another run now to actually get the updated information. So one way of getting it to run is just to twiddle the settings slightly. Let's put it back again. That should cause a new run, and then should cause it to update. So actually, as the new Solcast entities appeared, I actually need to restart it actually. So I need to go to the add-ons and I need to find Active Predbat and hit restart, because it's not going to pick up new entities without a clean restart. So hopefully that'll be successfully restarted. And when I open the log, you can see matched PV forecast today with sensor, so they've actually matched up now. So that's good. And then hopefully we'll actually get a run through in a second. I'm just reloading this log file again. It's a bit painful in here to reload it each time. But yeah, you can see some PV data coming through here in the prediction. You can see the PV forecast. So that's improved things somewhat. And now we've got something going up, and that's because we've got no load data. So we're going to have to wait now till tomorrow to get some load data. So that's the end of today's video. I'll show another one once this is up and running tomorrow. Thanks. So moving a day forward, I now have enough data to get a prediction in my Pred setup, whereas yesterday I was missing data. So actually the prediction is I'm going to run out of battery, and I'm going to run out at about 10:30 at night, which is about accurate actually. No solar today, it's a pretty lousy day, lots of load. So remember, this is on monitor mode. I'm going to make a change now. I'm going to put this into read-only mode, which means that it won't actually change my inverter. And then once it's into read-only mode, I can change from monitor mode into one of the control modes, but not actually have any changes made yet until I'm actually happy with how the system's functioning. So now let's try and, so if I look at the control mode, I can change it to charge and discharge. And I'll just give it a second to refresh now. So now it's updated, you can see I'm on Doctorus Intelligent. I've got my night charging at the cheap rate, and then my battery running out just before bedtime, and again the same tomorrow. So that seems about right from that point of view. One thing to mention is my plan hours, I think, are set to 48. If I can find it. Sometimes it's easier to actually search. So 48 hours. I haven't got the setting on here at the moment, but I was going to find and change that over to 24. Let me just show you how to set up some more dashboard stuff, and we'll come back to that. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to create a new tab, and I'm going to call it Predbat Plan, and I'm going to have one panel, one card, so that's the full screen. And in Predbat Plan, I'm going to add a new card, and I'm going to go to the actual database itself. I'm going to go into templates, and I'm going to find so it's probably not in templates, it's probably in the documentation. I'm going to go into the Predbat Plan card documentation and copy how to create this. Remember, this uses the HTML template card you must have already installed, So if it doesn't work, then it probably relates to that. I'm going to have to click manual here, and I'm going to paste it in over here, and then it's saying it doesn't work yet, so I haven't got that card installed. That is HTML template card. So let's see if we can add that. So we can see if we can find it in hacks. HTML template card. HTML template card is, here's the Lovelace HTML Ginger template card. So is this one the one that we want? Let's see whether it's already here listed in hacks. And I'm going to download that one. And then reload my browser. And then hopefully now, when I go and edit this one, and I add my card, and I go manual, and I paste it in. Oh, that's not the right thing I'm pasting. To go back to the documentation and paste the right thing in. And let's paste it into here. And that's better. That gives me the plan, so I can see what's going on here. So the other thing I can do is I can add a new card. I'm going to call this one Predbat, and this is going to be more my main dashboard. And I'm going to add another card here. So I'm going to have a look at the. Sorry, this is for the charts. I think the one they actually wanted is from the GitHub in the templates, and that is the dynamic entities card. And this is quite a neat one that gives you a foldable card with some things in. This one uses vertical stack and it uses collapsible cards, so it's only going to work if I've got collapsible cards installed. So hopefully I'll add this in and we'll see whether it's already installed or not. We don't have collapsible cards, so I'm going to go back to hacks and see whether collapsible cards are there. So I need to actually find the instructions for collapsible cards. So I'm going to go into cards home assistant, and here it is. No, that's not it. There it is. And it says the repository is here. So it's custom repository. So I copy the repository into hacks. And then I go to custom repositories. And this is going to be a Lovelace. And I'll add that in now. And then hopefully it's now showing up. And I can download that. And then once that's installed, we might have some luck being able to reload the browser. And then let's copy this code again. And let's go back to my plan here. Edit dashboard, add card, manual, paste, save. So this shows me what version I'm currently on, and the current node, and the status. It's in read only, and it gives me all the controls, input variable switches, and all the sensors. So it looks like I'm missing the auto entities card. Let's see if I can find that in hacks then. So auto entities. So I need to find that one. So home assistant. Auto entities card. And it looks like this is the one here. And if I look for the instructions, it doesn't say how to install it. Hacks automatically So it looks like it's one up here. So if I don't have it in this list, then I shall add it as a custom repository. That is also a Lovelace. Oh, it already. Maybe I'm typing the name in wrong then. Auto entities. There we go. It's already there. So let's download that. Reload my browser. Oops, I should reload the browser there. And then if I go back to here, then hopefully, there we go. So now we've got this and it's automatically expanding. And we can have all the different settings here. And obviously the charts, I can also start adding charts into here for the charts that I don't have yet. So for example, I can go to the Apex charts, and if I go back to my templates, if you remember the charts are in the example charts, and we had a battery chart already on the other page. We don't have a cost chart yet, so I can put a cost chart in. You can copy that and put that into here, sorry, and save. And you can go through and add all the ones that you want now. And that's basically Predbat up and running when I'm ready to take it out of read-only mode. It's pretty simple, you just change the toggle. You can obviously tune your home pages and what everything looks like. And you can tune some other settings as well. So whether you've got a hybrid inverter or not, what the losses are, how much you want to weight the 10% solar scenario. And here we've got a weighting for extra energy consumption, so the PV10 is also assuming extra energy consumption as well, and so it takes those two into account with planning. You can start setting up your car and everything. We're going to cover those on different videos. There's also some other options you can change, and there's also an expert mode where you get more settings, but actually get used to it in non-expert mode first would be my recommendation. Okay, thanks for watching.